What's up, nerds? My name is Cory Bergeron. You are watching Cory Bergeron Recordings, and we're back with a brand new video. So I woke up this morning. Today was like most mornings. I roll over, I grab my phone, and I see that I have an email from STL Tones, and it says that the STL AmpHub is now released to the world. So the first thing I do is I sign up for that 10-day free trial. They send me a download link, and I have it installed here on my computer, and I got it open at the factory default settings right now. I have not heard this thing at all. So in this video, I'm going to be doing a demonstration and kind of a first impressions of the STL AmpHub. I own the STL Tone Hub plugin as well as the STL Tonality Howard Benson. I think I said that in the right order. And I rely super heavily on these plugins. I feel like I was one of the last people I know to the party of amp sims. For the longest time, I was a real amp guy, but I've been using these like 99% of the time on the last handful of records that I've been doing. One of my favorite things to do is when a band sends me a production to mix, I'll listen to their guitars and I go, okay, that's probably, you know, a JCM 800 or an orange amplifier. And then I'll go and I'll find an STL Tone Hub version of that amplifier and just A/B, you know, their amp recording to the DI with the STL Tone Hub, and oftentimes the STL Tone Hub sounds better. And yeah, so I am all on board with STL Tones products. I think they're fantastic, and I'm really excited to try this one out and to kind of get a feel for it. So as I mentioned, for the longest time, I'm a real amp guy, and I'm familiar with the characteristics of most, you know, common amplifiers. JCM 800, AC30, different variations of orange amps, Fender amps. After you've used these amplifiers for a long time, you get to understand the characteristics, and when you're trying to like figure out what sound you want, you know what tool you need to use to get that sound. So when I would work on a production with a band, I would talk to the band and I'd be like, okay, what type of, you know, tone are we going for? What amp do you have? What amps do I have? And oftentimes we would borrow something if we needed to kind of create the sound that we thought we needed for that project. So at first glance, the STL AmpHub seems to be STL's version of all of these amps. So they use their tracing technology that they use in their STL Tone Hub. I'm just making this up. I haven't actually read this, but it looks like they actually have specific amplifiers, which is gonna be really cool. So I'm excited to start clicking through and actually hearing these things. All right, so in front of me, I have the STL AmpHub plugin open here. It's at its default settings, and I guess it defaults to not having the amp on. So let's, it says welcome here. STL Tones. Okay, so right off the bat, just looking at the presets here, these are what seem to be the amplifiers, which is cool. All right, so let's test out the amplifiers. This is what I'm super curious about. I want to hear what these amplifiers sound like by themselves. I want to maybe tweak some knobs around, see how they react. I'm familiar with a lot of the amps in here, so I do have an idea of how they should react, and we'll see if yeah, if this plugin resembles the real thing. All right, so Mesaderek, everybody knows it as a high gain amp. It's got a super bright, like high mid focused distortion, good for metal for the most part. Okay, I don't need to play anymore. That sounds exactly like a dual rec. This thing sounds awesome so far. And let's see, there's no pedals or anything like that. Oh, there is a pedal on here. Is this just a clean boost? Drop my pick! It sounds like it's adding some distortion. What's this? Extreme clean booster. Okay, so this is just driving the amp more. Yeah, that sounds awesome. Okay, let's move forward and let's go to this Twinkle 30, which is the Vox AC30. Now, I will say when it comes to amp simulation, I find getting the clean tone right is a lot more challenging than getting the distorted tone right. Usually when it comes to dialing a distorted tone, it takes me like 2 seconds. But when it comes to getting that clean tone and trying to get breakup or a little bit of dirt or whatever on it, it becomes a lot more challenging. Now the Vox AC30 is a British amp. I'm super familiar with this. I actually used to own one. You can get a nice round, full, clean sound out of it, as well as you can get like kind of that British breakup sound. So let's see what it sounds like. Sounds pretty convincing. If you've owned a Vox AC30, you know where you plug your guitar in on the inputs changes, how it interacts. So let's go to just the normal setting, and on the high input, go back to the high or the top boost, and we will crank the input of it and just turn on the master to compensate and see what the breakup's like. Yeah, I'd say this is pretty convincing. The only thing that this doesn't have is the spring reverb, which you might be able to recreate with this. Not quite the same, as well as the Vox AC30 has a trem on it, which is amazing. But yeah, I think that's awesome. This might be one of my new favorite clean tones. Let's keep moving forward. We have the orange flying, which is a... okay, so this is an orange rock reverb, so again, known as like a high gain amplifier. Let's see what this sounds like. Yeah, that sounds like an orange. One characteristic of orange amps that I find when it comes to high gain orange amps is that the distortion is just really tight. It's like you have this really like limited brick wall sound in a good way, which makes it fit really well in a mix. Great for rock to punk and anything high gain. Yeah, I don't have much to say there. Let's turn the gain down and see what happens. I have no complaints with that. That definitely sounds like what it's advertised as. Let's keep going. Slodano, again, another high gain amplifier. I do not have a lot of experience with the Slodano personally, like using a real one. I've used one maybe twice. It sounds good, so that's pretty cool. Let's keep moving forward. Okay, we have a Fender Deluxe. I have a lot of experience with Fender amps, and usually some chimey clean tones out of it, and depending on the amplifier, you can get them to break up. So without talking too much, let's see what this sounds like. That sounds like there's something going on here. It sounds really mid-range focus. Let's see what happens if we crank the volume on this. Cool. I actually really like that sound. Let's go back on the volume, which is going to bring down the distortion of it. It's a really mid-rangey sounding amp. Let's go and add a basic compressor, and let's throw, I don't know, where is our friend here? Let's take the length and Yeah, that's awesome. I like this. I like that it's different sounding. So far this plugin is rather versatile, so that's good. Let's keep moving on to the next amp, which is a Fender Bass, which is probably a Fender Bassman from 1959. And it looks like it's some sort of combo amp. Oh, this one comes stock with a delay on it. Let's just turn that off. You got that Fender's squawky mid-range. Let's turn the guitar to single coil. I like Fender amps because they're super mid-range heavy and they like fit through a mix and really poke through. Sometimes they can be a little piercing, so let's let's see what happens if we crank the normal volume here. There's no master on this, eh? I guess we'll use the output as the master. Oh, we're plugged into the bright here. And let's turn this down and slap the strings and see what happens. That's definitely a vintage type of distortion where it sounds like the tone is crumbling into itself. Cool, I like this. I think this so far is some of my favorite sounding Fender amp simulations that I've tried out, so that's cool. Mars Attack. Okay, here we go. This is the good stuff. The real rock and roll. Let's get the buzz going. Oh! There's just something about the sound of a Marshall. I would be so happy to use this as like my main rhythm guitar tone and never think twice about it. Don't even need to change the knobs. Let's go through and go to the next Marshall. So this is a JCM 800 Marshall, and let's just see how they differ. Even more game. Marshall amps, especially the JCM 800s, they have this like super high-end crunchiness to them that is distinct to this type of amp. Like fizzy top end. I love it. I don't know which one I like better. I might like this one better, but it also might be because there's more gain. Man, I am 1000% going to use these on records, and that's it. I'm going to play softly here, and then I'm going to play a little louder just to hear dynamically how the amp interacts. That sounds like a Marshall. There's no two ways about it. That's awesome. All right, I am not familiar with this amplifier at all. It looks mean. It looks like a high gain amp. The gate is obviously going. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I got no idea what this thing's supposed to sound like. Was that convincing? Jake the Snake. I don't really have too much to say about that. Okay, so those are the go-to... Oh, no, we have more. I thought that was it. Okay, Ignite amps. Same thing, more high gain. Again, this seems very metal-ish. High gain amp would be great for hardcore, metal, anything like that. Super tight sounding. And then this is back to same amp, slightly different sounding. More rock, a little less high gain. All right, cool. Let's go to an amp here. They have the presets from the different producers or studios here. Let's go through, and I'm going to go to the Twinkle 30, okay? So this is just a Vox AC30 amp here. I'm going to try out some of the pedals here and just kind of get a basic understanding of how they interact. Let's go with the basic compressor. I don't know, let's throw on this guy here. It's a clean booster, so it's just turning up the volume. It's not clipping it, from my understanding. Or clipping the amp. Okay, this gate is annoying. Okay. Let's go to the effects here, and let's throw on digital chorus. So this looks a lot like the chorus that's in the STL ToneHub plugin. We haven't tried out the delay. Let's try this. You can have the sync, which is really nice. Say on the STL ToneHub plugin, I find the effects is where it kind of falls short. That's just my personal preference. I find I'm leaning towards other delays and reverbs, using those in tandem with the ToneHub plugin instead of using the onboard effects. I'll have to use this plugin more to figure out whether I like these, but so far it seems fairly similar. Like length. I don't like how length is in a percentage. Why isn't that in milliseconds? Not good. Single coil. Cool. Okay, I think that for the most part does it. Obviously I haven't tried out everything, but this is more a first impressions look at the STL AmpHub plugin. Again, I was super excited when I got the email this morning, and I'm using the 10-day free trial. I will definitely go ahead and buy this. The Marshall tones alone are worth it. There is a subscription service, as well as you can outright buy it. I don't know how much it costs to outright buy it at the moment, but the subscription service being $10 definitely seems well worth the cost of the plugin, as well as they have this 10-day free trial. So if you've watched this video and you're on the fence still, you don't know if this is right for you, just download the 10-day free trial. And I'm a huge fan of the STL Tones products. The STL Tonality Howard Benson is great. I've used that on a bunch of records. The STL ToneHub is also fantastic, but I think this is a step further in the right direction. I love this as someone that's used a lot of these amps personally, and I'm like, oh, I think this guitar part would benefit from an AC30 type guitar tone. I can just quickly dial that in, and I think they do a really honest and believable job of tracing these amps. I think that's what they call it. That's their technology, their tracing technology. I think it's pretty accurate, and I'm excited to see going into the future. Obviously there are more than, what, 8 or 10 amps in the world, so they're going to be able to trace more of them and add them in, and if you're signed up for the subscription service, you're basically going to get more amps as time goes on, which is fantastic. So this gets 2 thumbs up from me. I will definitely either subscribe or buy this thing outright, and I am excited to make records with it, which is fantastic. So that is basically it for the video. I will leave a link to this down below in the description, as well as if you don't follow me on Instagram or Twitter, go ahead and do that. Join my Discord server. I'm in there every single day. We can talk audio, we can talk about plugins and stuff like this. Let me know if you have any experience with any of the STL ToneHub stuff in the comment section down below. And that's basically it. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Cory Bergeron, and I will see you in the next video.